Chapter 5 Morphology of Flowering Plants. The wide range in structure of higher plants will never fail to fascinate us. Even though the angiosperms show such a large diversity in external structures or morphology, they are all categorized by presence of roots, stems, leaves, flowers and fruits. Okay. In chapter 2 plant kingdom and biological classification, chapter 2 and 3, we talked about classification of plants based on morphological and other characteristics. For any successful attempt at classification and understandings and any higher level, for that matter any living organisms, we need to know standard technical terms and standard definitions. We also need to know about the possible variations in different parts found found as adaptations of the plants to their environment, adaptations to various habits, protection and climbing and storage etc. If you pull out any weed, you will see that all of them, roots, stems and leaves, they are many bearing fruits. They may be bearing flowers and fruits. The underground part of the flowering plant is the root system, while the portion above the ground is also known as the shoot system. For suppose this is a weed, the underground part is a root and this is the stem, right? And suppose if you go to the fields and you pull out a weed plant, it's like a waste one. You can see the roots, you can observe the roots, you can see the stem above the axis aerial part, and you can also observe the leaves from it. Okay, maybe some of them have maybe bear the fruits and flowers, they may be having the fruits and flowers also. The underground part of the flowering plant is root and above the portion is the shoot. Next, just take a summary of it. In chapter 2 and 3 biological classification and plant kingdom, we have learned about the classification of the plants, and in this chapter we have to know the parts of the plants and different types of plant parts, like you can see starting with root, stem, leaves and so on. Let's start this chapter. The root. In majority of dicotyledonous plants, the direct elongation of radicle leads to formation of primary root. Direct elongation of radicle leads to formation of a primary root, which grows inside the soil. Obviously the roots goes inside the soil. It bears lateral root of several orders that refers to a secondary and tertiary and etc. Secondary and tertiary roots. The first is a primary root, grows inside the soil, and it bears a lateral roots of several orders, refers to secondary and tertiary roots. The primary roots and its branches constitute the taproot system as seen in mustard plant. This is one of the example given in the NCERT for taproot system. You can see the main root, this is the main root, and these are the lateral ones, secondary and tertiary roots, maybe etc. for quaternary also. Okay, this is the example of taproot system. Next, and example, the taproot system is seen in mustard. One of the example in this morphology, the questions is asked based on these examples. You should memorize these examples very well, otherwise it will be like whole of confusing, because this mustard will come at like at least 15 times in this chapter. Take a book or a piece of paper, write these examples aside, like taproot system is present in mustard. Okay, now come on. In monocotyledonous plants, in monocot, the primary root is short-lived and replaced by a large number of roots. Here, this is fibrous root. At starting, The main one is a short-lived. The primary root is short-lived, and later on, from the base of the plant, numerous roots are arranged or come in support to the primary root, and it forms like a fibrous one. So the primary root is only short-lived. Here you can see this. Yes, is replaced by large number of roots. These roots originated from the base of the stem. From the stem, okay, base of the stem, and constitute the fibrous root system. Numerous roots are formed from the base of the stem and formed as a fibrous root system, and the primary root is replaced. Example is wheat plant. For taproot system, the example is mustard. Fibrous, the example is wheat plant. In some plants like grasses, monstera and banyan tree, roots arise from the parts of the plants. Taproot and fibrous is separate. Here, coming to the adventitious roots, these are the roots which comes from the parts of the plant other than a radicle. Okay, in fibrous and taproot system, we have seen that roots are coming from the radicle. We had not yet described, but it was. In adventitious root, the roots are arise from the parts of the plant other than the radicle. The main functions of the root system are absorption of water and minerals from the soil, providing a proper anchorage to the plant parts, storing reserve food material, and synthesis of the plant growth regulator species. The main functions of root system are absorption of water, minerals from the soil, providing a proper anchorage to the plant parts, storing reserve food material, and synthesis of the plant growth regulator PGRs. Here we can see this, the part below the soil or in the soil is the root, the primary root and secondary root. You can see like in taproot system, this is the root system, and above is the shoot system. You can see the leaves, these are the buds. The space between the two buds or two nodes are known as internode. Leaves, this is the stem, and a fruit and a flower. Okay, this is an example of taproot system. Fibrous root system, example wheat. This example is mustard, and this is adventitious root, grass, banyan tree, monstera was example. Examples are most important in this chapter. I was repeating again and again because you should remember them. You should by heart the examples. Next, regions of the root. The root is covered by the apex by a thimble-like structure called root cap. You can see here, this is the structure. Thimble-like structure covered the root is known as a root cap. Okay, it protects the tender apex of the root. It protects as it makes it a way through the soil. It can also make a way through its soil to grow onto the growth of the root. Okay, when the root expands, it gives the way. Okay, it makes the way through the soil. If millimeters above the root cap is the region is known as region of meristematic activity. A few millimeters above means this is the root cap. A few millimeters, very few millimeters, this region is known as region of meristematic activity. Here, in the region of meristematic activity, the cells of this region are very small, thin-walled, and dense in protoplasm. In the region of meristematic activity, the cells of this region are very small, thin-walled, and dense protoplasm. They divide repeatedly. The cells proximal to this region, means again some little above, undergo rapid elongation and enlargement responsible for the growth in the stem and growth of the root in length. This region is called as region of elongation. This is the reason of meristematic activity. This is the reason for the reason of elongation. It it is also the reason responsible for increase in length. Okay, reason of elongation. The cells of elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature. This zone gradually differentiate and mature. Hence, this zone proximal to region of elongation is called region of maturation. Means from root cap a little millimeter above we got region of meristematic activity, and above of the meristematic zone we known as region, we got region of elongation, and above the region of elongation we have region of maturation. Simple. From this region, some epidermal cells from very fine and delicate thread-like structures called root hairs has been kept. The root hairs absorb water and minerals from the soil. Okay. First, root cap, and the cells divide repeatedly at a region of meristematic activity. Increase and responsible of the growth is known as irresponsible in growth of length, also reason of elongation and reason of maturation. Here root hairs are present. Root hairs are helps in minerals, absorption of minerals, water from the soil. This is the reasons of the root. Next, modification of root. Roots in some plants change their shape and structure and become modified to perform functions other than absorption and conduction of water and minerals. These roots are modified to perform different functions other than absorption of water and minerals. Okay, they are modified for support, storage of food, for food storage, and respiration. Like for like we breathe, we call it a breathing. To plants, it is known as respiration. It like a plant breathing. Okay, tap roots of carrot, turnip, and adventitious roots of sweet potato. Here again, addition of examples. At actually at starting we told that mustard is the example of taproot. Here carrot and turnip also examples of the taproot systems. And adventitious root, we told that sweet potato. Here is the sweet potato example was given. Earlier we discussed about like banyan tree, grass, monstera having adventitious root. Here sweet potato also got adventitious root. This is also an example of adventitious root. Adventitious roots of sweet potato get swollen and storage of the food. Here storage of food. The root is modified for the storage of food, means examples of carrot, turnip, sweet potato. Next, you can also name some more examples at your own interest. Maximum NCRT examples are more than enough. For example, have you ever wondered that hanging structures that support a banyan tree? These hanging structures are known as prop roots. You can see here. This is a banyan tree. Other than roots, there are many hanging ones. These hanging structures from the branches of the tree. This is a branch here. This is a branch, but these structures from the plant are known as prop roots. Okay, hanging structures from the banyan tree. Similarly, the stems of maize and sugarcane have supporting roots coming out of the lower nodes of the stem. These are known as stilt roots. Okay. Actually, in banyan tree, the roots are modified to giving like a mechanical support. These known as a prop roots. But in maize and sugarcane, the roots are coming from the basal ones from the lower nodes of the stem. These type of roots are known as stilt roots. Let's see an example for that. Here we are seeing the picture of corn. You can see this. I think this is the sugarcane. You can observe better. Here, this is the internode, and you can observe that The roots are has been arising from here and going into the soil like a stability. This is an example of stilt roots. Okay, I think you better understand with this image. Here, these are the internodes. This is the internode, and roots has been growing from here, and this will be penetrate into the soil. So to get like a mechanical support in the sugarcane region. Next, in some plants such as Rhizophora, growing in swampy areas, many roots come out of the ground and grow vertically upward. Actually, for suppose if this was a plant, the downward stack, the root will grow towards the gravity like downward. But in case of Rhizophora, the roots will grow like upward because these Rhizophora plants lives in a swampy areas, watery grounds. Okay, in that to breathe for respiration purpose, the roots goes up vertically upward. Here, such roots are known as pneumatophores. Helps to get oxygen for respiration. Okay, here like this. In swampy areas, the roots grows upward, vertically upward. Only I think this is only one exception. Here you can see this. These two are belongs to taproot system, and in taproot they are modified. The turnip and carrot modified to storage of the food, and this sweet potato also modified in the storage, but this comes under adventitious root. Guys, in exam they will confuse you between potato and sweet potato examples. He may given you some 5 examples and ask you to list what are the adventitious root or what are the taproots. While classifying them, you should be aware between the potato and sweet potato. The sweet potato is adventitious, but potato is not an adventitious root. Okay, potato comes under just storage. Potato is like modifications of stem. It is not about a root. But they will confuse you like by giving 2 examples sweet potato and potato. You may go wrong here. You may go wrong here, but be careful. This is one of the examples.